Hello and what is up, guys? Right here and welcome back to some more automation and of course BeamNG.Drive. So in the past I've made cars that are very fast, I've made cars that are very heavy, I've made cars that are very cheap, but I've never made a car that is absolutely terrible, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Now, for people who don't know much about cars, a rear-engine front-wheel drive car is pretty much as bad as it could possibly be for a car layout. There is no possible worse layout. I mean, if there is, let me know in the comments below, because there is no worse layout than this. So it's gonna be a quirky rear-engine front-wheel drive, French-style 1980s turbo sporty sedan. And you might be wondering, Rye, have you gone insane? The answer is yes, I've gone absolutely insane. Let's go ahead, start the car here. Now, sticking with the theme of being quirky, we are giving this car fiberglass panels. It's going to be a top-of-the-line, fancy French sedan. We're going to give it a monocoque chassis. It's going to be steel chassis material. That's all hunky-dory. That's all fine. Rear engine. Longitudinally mounted. It's going to be double wishbone front and double wishbone rear. It's going to be very fancy. It's a fancy premium car that was probably a massive sales flop for this French company. Let's go ahead and design our engine. Now, I don't make a lot of boxer engine cars, and I decided today, what the heck, let's make a boxer engine car. We can go for a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. I'm thinking a 6-cylinder is going to do. It's going to be, let's go for like a 2.6 liter flat 6 engine, 3 valve per cylinder, single overhead cam, all aluminum engine, which is interesting to say the least. And go ahead and give it some decently strong internals because this thing's going to be turbocharged to high heaven. Let's give it a turbocharger, ball bearing turbocharger. Performance tune it, leave it for now. Let's give it single point EFI, standard intake, premium fuel. We're knocking a lot, and that's not really what you want in a car. You don't want the car to knock. So 120 horse at 165 torque is really depressing for a turbocharged 2.7 liter engine. Let's go dual exhaust though. We got it now up to 145 horsepower. It'll probably be competing with something like a BMW M5, except if it's absolutely insane, a French sort of hatchback sedan thing. So it's going to be around 250 horsepower is the goal. So it's going to be luxurious, but more of a premium, not really like a top-end luxury brand. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to say the least. I don't know the French car market too much of the time, but I know that 245 torque and 240 or so horsepower is more than a reasonable amount of power for this time period. Let's go ahead, keep going here. So the M5 did 0 to 60 in around the 6.5 second range, which is pretty good, obviously. This mod body looks a little weird at some points, but this is fine. So we got the short back end sedan. We've got this long back end, which I much prefer. There's also some other variants as well. There's like this coupe, which is absolutely disgusting. There's this coupe, which is even more disgusting. We've got a truck, we got a van. I want this quirky looking sedan. It's going to be a front wheel drive sedan. So in order to do front wheel drive with a rear engine car and automation, it's got to be all wheel drive, but with a front bias. It's going to be a 100% front biased car, which is absolutely hilarious. There's no point to having this at all, but I think it's pretty cool. Top speed 269 kilometers an hour, which is reasonable. Let's go to 240 here. Let's give it an actual LSD. It's going to be a sporty car for sure. Sports tires. 245s in the front. That's so weird. Ugh, that's disgusting. Let's give it some big disc brakes. Let's give it like, what, 9 inches in the back and 11 inches up front. A fully clad under tray for better fuel economy. 5-seater. Premium and premium. And then some tippity top other stuff as well. Now, I kind of want to keep on the tradition of the best French cars ever and have hydro-pneumatic suspension, which is what I think I'll do for a bit more of a luxurious approach. It's going to be hydro-pneumatic suspension, so more rear camber, which is a little sketchy, but we'll do it. Let's go for 255s in the rear. Ooh, that's scary. That is thick. This thing, oh, it likes to oversteer so badly. What's the weight distribution? Oh my god, it's 60% rear weight bias, and the power's up front. 0-60 is in 7.7. I'm still not too happy with the acceleration. We can go to a viscous is not going to be better than geared. No, it'll be slower than geared. 14 miles per gallon. That's not very French of us. This thing is absolutely awful fuel economy. It's just not a good car. It is not a good car. We could go ahead though and increase the quality of some things to make it a little bit better. So even though this car is front wheel drive, it's got just a wide rear track, which is obviously totally fine. So what I'll do is design this car. I'm going to re-engineer some things. I'm going to tune the engine itself, tune the car's handling to make it a better handling car, because 7.6 seconds is fine. It's respectable. But is it good? Not really. Let's lower the top speed down to like a little less maybe, so you can get a better 0 to 60. I don't know. You know what? I'll tweak it. I'll do some testing and tuning to see what I can do. I'll go over the car in a time lapse. Then we'll hop into BeamNG and see how bad this car is, because it's gonna be awful. So sit back, relax, guys, and I hope you enjoy. And now we are designing our French sedan hatchback thing. Starting with the headlights. It's going to have these square headlights, which is pretty reminiscent of 80s cars. I was actually looking at some Nissan, the 300ZX for the headlights, having these sort of half pop-up headlights where they pop up halfway, at least they go halfway higher. So I use some trim pieces to make them look like pop-up headlights and use the headlights to do the rest. Adding a big old front bumper. I started with a wide air intake at the bottom, but I decided just to make my own cutout for a little bit. I, again, decide against that later on, but right now I'm just cutting it out and laying out how I sort of want things in the bottom of the front fascia. Finishing off the front pop-up headlights because I'm sick of the front bumper. I changed the front grille a little bit. It's got this sort of air dam that just sucks air through the bottom and pushes it a lot faster. Finishing off the side bumper, making it pointy on the edges. After that, I'm going to focus on the front bumper a little bit more. I'm still trying to get an idea of what I want for the front end. I add this big old sort of lip spoiler, lip wing, I don't know, this front lip. Adding our turn signals down below as well. Working on the badge for this brand. Now, this company has no name. This is an unnamed brand. I've got other French brands, and I don't like the names of them, so we are starting completely fresh here. It's going to have a red, black, green, and blue badge on the hood ornament. We're going to add more details right now, adding some lines on the red and the green, adding a windshield wipers on this car. They're quite quirky, but they're interesting at least, changing it to rally-ish wheels. Seeing if I want to add a intake on the side because, you know, it's a sporty car. I had one small intake slit on the side where I add a bit of details to make it look more fitting with the design of the car. Adding a door handle on the side, and on the rear door handle, it's going to have this sort of grab handle instead of a traditional door latch. It's going to have just a button to open it, then you pull this, similar to the Mustang Mach-E. It's got this button to push and you pull it open. Adding a rear spoiler, which is really difficult for this car, finding a nice one that fits. I add this little lip for now. Working on the rear taillights. It's going to be segmented into 3 parts. For each taillight, it's going to have a top and a bottom separated taillight. Each one's going to have a turn signal. It's going to have a brake light / taillight and a reverse light. So they're going to have a red, an orange, and a white light on each of the taillights. They don't end up looking perfect or perfectly how I want them in the very end because the orange turn signal just looks kind of weird, but that's totally fine. I do change it up a little bit on later. Adding a big indentation where the license plate's going to go. I do change it up a little bit. Adding the rear bumper because this car's got to have a big rear bumper for our big old luxury sports sedan. Dual exhaust out the back, adding an SX badge. This car's called the SX now, and the Turbo 3.0 is the trim name of this car. Adding a license plate that says concept, a trunk lid latch, and just tuning the engine, the suspension, the handling of this car, etc. Changing it to green, but I'll change the colors later on quite a bit more. I tuned a little bit of the trim and tuning the engine as well. This car, 240 horse, and in front of us is the unnamed brand 1985 SX Turbo 3.0. Alright guys, so like I said, this is the finished SX Turbo 3.0 in front of us, and I think it looks pretty good. The front end, it's got some vibes, I vibe with it, you know, it's got some French vibes. Of course, the body is a Citroen BX. I've went with some similar Citroen stuff, not really. I took some inspiration from Ford Mustang, Maserati, and some other cars as well. So it's got these sort of half pop-up headlights. They sort of go up and down, I guess, is how they would work. We got our emblem in the middle here, which I think is just simple, but it looks kind of cool, and from afar it looks really cool. These big old turn signals and this big old front like air dam, and then the front lip, I guess is what this is. A little bit of air stuck on the hood. I'm not too sure why. There's also a bulge there. Again, not too sure why because the engine is in the rear, but you know, it's got that for style. You know, the French, they love their style. The wipers are cool. We got one wiper here and one wiper here, and they go like opposite ways. I don't know why. I just thought that was kind of cool. This car is supposed to be the epitome of quirkiness. The bumper's kind of glitched out, but you know what? We'll ignore that. Tiny turn signal on the side. And nothing says sporty car like a badge that just says injection. That's all it says on the side. You know, the French, they're good at making Cool cars for sure. That's the epitome of French cars for sure. The back door handle also quite cool. It's got a lock. It's got a button to open it. There is no handle to grab. The handle is actually right here. You just sort of grab it and pull. There is no door handle. I'm not too sure why, but I just wanted to have that again. This car just got a lot of weird quirks in it. The back end, it gets interesting. Again, this is based off a previous French car made. I don't think I have a brand for this French car company. If you got any good ideas for brands, let me know in the comments down below. Taillights aren't perfectly done, but it's totally fine. So we got the SX badge right there. That's S and X. And we got turbo because this is the turbo trim. It's got these rally wheels kind of thing going on. It's got these big chunky mirrors, a sunroof, and nothing else too crazy. The engine has been tweaked. 307 or 308 pound-feet of torque and 240 horsepower. So it's not as much as a BMW M5. It's got way more torque than an M5, but less horsepower, which means more wheel spin, which is a lot of fun for this car because it is not great. It's not terrible. It's not great, though. It actually is better than what I thought it would be. Besides that, though, it's not bad. 5-speed manual now, 240 kilometers an hour is the top speed. Pretty small gearing spacing. It can do 110 kilometers in second gear. You can see the wheel spin there. That's obviously going to be a good side. 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds, which is, about a half a second slower than the BMW M5, which is what this thing was sort of competing against. Suspension, hydro-pneumatic, because nothing says French car like hydro-pneumatic suspension. It's a Citroen, it's going to have hydro-pneumatic suspension. I imagine this car being able to drive on 3 wheels like a proper Citroen should. Anyways, though, the SX Turbo 3.0 is done. It's done. It's ready to go. We're going to hop into BeamNG.Drive and see how terrible a rear-engine front-wheel drive car is. It might not be as bad as you think, but it's still not going to be great. I'll see you guys in BeamNG in just a sec. Finally, in BeamNG.Drive, this is obviously my favorite time of every video, is at the drag strip. This is the SX Turbo 3.0, and it looks actually pretty cool in BeamNG. It looks actually interesting. I wish the pop-ups worked. I just made them non-functional because it looks cool, and it's fine that way. The car, it looks great in BeamNG. The headlights look a little bit wonky, but that's because they're not on. It's totally fine that they're not on. Now they look totally fine. Anyways, back end looks good. Everything else looks good. We are at the drag strip. We're going to test our 0 to 100 kilometers an hour times, so 0 to 62 miles an hour, as well as quarter mile. I've done some testing in the quarter mile to make sure we can get a decent time here, like this. There we go. That's the fastest 0 to 100. We just keep it spinning all the way through first gear. 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, which is actually insanely fast. The front end is very light, and it wants to kill me instantly, but 14.144 in the quarter mile is actually like a really impressive time. I think that's faster than what Automation's. I think Automation's at 15 point something. I'm not too sure of the BMW M5's quarter mile time, but I'll put a quarter mile and 0 to 60 time for the 1985 BMW M5 on the screen just for reference. Alright guys, automation test track. This is the important one, okay? I'm going to drive this thing balls to the wall this time. In first person, because that's probably the better way to do it. Let's go page up so we're nice and high. Oh, that tire spin is bad. We're spinning really badly through second here. Into third. We are still spinning in second. So this car, it is, oh gosh, it is tail happy. And the front of it is super light, so it's gonna make this thing want to literally kill me every chance it gets. But the drive wheels are the front, so it kind of counteracts that. Actually, it's not the most efficient performance drivetrain. It's the front end super light though. It's just sort of wafting around. It's definitely not an efficient layout for a performance car. If this thing was like true all-wheel drive, even like a front bias all-wheel drive, I guess it wouldn't make sense to be a front because it's rear engine. But like if it was an all-wheel drive system, like a proper one, 50-50 or something like that, this would actually be a proper quick car. And especially at high speeds here, it is the front end super light. We could have used the wing in the front. The front end likes to sort of move around. Yeah, that's not good. I'm going to stay in fourth. I'm not going to fifth because it's already scary. I'm going to try to bomb this corners pretty fast. Oh, that's not good. Oh, whoa, oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. That's fine. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so bad. It's got downforce in the rear, not the front, where the drive wheels are. And it's the end, all the weights in the rear. Okay, that's not good. Just stay in second here. We're gonna floor it in second. Oh, just some weird sounds. So far, so good. It's going pretty good. It's not that bad, actually. I tried just to do that last quarter. So, yeah, it's a fine handling car. It's like not really good. It's a little bit smashed up. Yeah, that badge looks really cool. It's not terrible. It could be worse. It could be better. Not even near a good time, obviously. Actually, 230 is top 50 apparently, which is stupid because I don't have much times here, I guess. It's more like a like a 230-ish time, so it's not terrible. If I had a wing in the front, I think it would be a respectable car high speeds, but right now high speeds is awful. Terrible car high speeds. At low speeds, it is a little bit sketchy. It's manageable, though. It's actually manageable. Let's hop into the jump arena. We're going to jump the SX and see if can I jump good. I don't know, probably. We'll hop there and check it out. Lastly, at the jump arena here with the SX Turbo. And let's just appreciate the car's looks. It looks good. It sounds not bad. I want to do some custom Boxster sounds because the Boxster sounds would be pretty cool, I think. Let's just launch it. Do a jump here. We got the airspeed on the right. We got our tire speed at the bottom right. Airspeed slightly above that. Oh my god, the front end is super light. Oh gosh, he doesn't like this. Try number 2 it is. Okay, let's try again. I'm just gonna go a little bit more casually. We lost our wing, I think, which is not a good sign because we actually needed the downforce, at least to keep the back end sort of planted here. Let's just accelerate in 5th. $250 kilometers. It's not good. It can barely make the jump. We'll keep this one. This one's fine. And look at that. It's gonna be fine. The car's fine. Are we good? Look at that. Still drives perfectly. Like a proper hydrodynamic car. Headlights, they still work. That's all that really matters. The turn signals, do they work? Look at that. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Brakes. Reverse lights. Not bad. Overall, a pretty good car. Honestly, this car was a lot of fun to make. I love the design of this car. Let me know in the comments down below what I should name the brand. What brand should this car company be? I want something French. I have some French brands. I never really use them, so I don't really have good names for them. But this is like a French. It's like a premium French brand. Or luxury. It's more like a BMW but French, I guess. It's a luxury French brand. We'll go in the water here and finish off there. But look at that. Not bad at all. If you guys like the video, leave a like down below. Let me know more automation builds in the comments below as well. Join my Discord, link is in the description. Before we finish off here, I want to give a huge shout out to my channel members. Those are people who have went above and beyond to support the channel. First off, big thanks to Ruben for being a Big Boy Turbo member, as well as thanks to the Quad Turbo members and the Twin Turbo members. Thanks so much to Childish Sin and DD Man, and thanks so much to the Single Turbo members as well. You guys are all awesome, and I really appreciate you guys. Another video is going to come in a few days. I actually have an IRL video planned in a few weeks. I want to say I've got 2 IRL videos planned, and they're actually going to come. I promise they will come before the winter here, because I need to get them done. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time.